What's up, guys? This is Matt from 49ers Hive. We are going live after the 49ers played the Chargers, week 2 of the preseason. Unfortunately, Zach can't join us tonight. It's just going to be me and you guys. So let's get this started. First of all, I just want to say another interesting preseason, another example of where I think that we're all getting to the point where it's just time. I think it's time. Jimmy Garoppolo has had his moment in the sun, and I think we're getting to the point where it's pretty obvious that Trey Lance just needs to start. Jimmy Garoppolo had another, a nondescript outing. It wasn't anything special. It wasn't anything that anybody's going to, shout to the rooftops. Oh man, Jimmy's the guy. Jimmy's the guy. It was just another Jimmy outing. It's one of those things where, hey, how you doing? I appreciate you guys joining us. It's just going to be me tonight. So your participation is going to make a lot of the show and what's going on tonight. So that'll be very important to me. So thank you so much. Yeah. So to me, it's one of those things where, Jimmy was supposed to come out and he was supposed to play like a quarter and a half, right? And he ends up 3 of 5 or 3 of 6, whatever the case may be, for 15 yards. He had the interception, which was his last play. That was the throw to Ayuk that was high, but it hit Ayuk in the hands. That's something that Trey Lance, or I'm sorry, that Ayuk definitely needs to. Sorry about that, guys. That's definitely something that Ayuk definitely needs to catch. That hit both of his hands. He needs to catch that going forward. A lot of people are going to say, hey, that's a really bad throw. That's on Jimmy. To me, that's not on Jimmy. Just like the Trey Lance interception, that wasn't on Trey Lance either. That hit Debo in the hands. Again, if the ball hits the receiver's hands, this is the NFL. A wide receiver one is going to catch those things. But at the same time, did Jimmy knock my socks off? Absolutely not. And I think it's very telling that he played such a short amount of time. Now, to be fair, Coach Staley of the Chargers didn't play his starters. Justin Herbert didn't get in there at all. That's going to be something that kind of plays into it a little bit too. I think that Kyle would have liked to play Jimmy a little more, but because of the fact that the Chargers weren't playing their starters, Kyle's sitting there going like, why am I going to play my guys? That doesn't make sense to me. So, just again, it's preseason. I know that a lot of people are going to downplay this, but when you look at practice, when you look at what he was doing in practice, what Jimmy Garoppolo was doing in practice, what Trey Lance was doing in practice, and then I look at the game. What's up, Hunk Fat? Nice to see you here. Listen, it's more of the same. Jimmy interception, did that remind you at all of the Kittle ball from week 1 that got him hurt? No, it's a different situation. That was Ayuk was running a route towards the middle of the field. It's not like he was going to get hit. It wasn't to the flat where Kittle was going to catch Kittle caught the ball high. Budda Baker took him out at the knees. It's a little bit different situation. Both quarterbacks' interceptions were on high balls that were a little bit behind the receivers, but to me, it was, it wasn't anything that is super avoidable. Those are just throws that people are going to make in the NFL. Were they great throws? Absolutely not. Were they horrendous throws? No. But if we're looking at the guys, and this is where I fall on this, we're seeing Jimmy Garoppolo doing what Jimmy Garoppolo does. We're not seeing anything different from him. We're not seeing, again, what the mainstream media is telling us, that Jimmy's having the best camp of his life. Jimmy's having the best training camp. He's looking so good. He looks like Jimmy to me. He doesn't look better or worse than he's ever looked to me. He looks the same. The best play Jimmy made was that scramble. He had a 10-yard run for a first down. That was the most spry and limber that I've seen Jimmy Garoppolo, and that was the best thing that's the best thing that I've seen from him all week, and all preseason, to be honest. So for me, it's just, I'm not seeing it out of Jimmy Garoppolo. And then I watched Trey Lance come in. And did Trey Lance play outstanding? Did he knock my socks off? No, not necessarily. He played decent. I thought that he made the reads that he's supposed to make, but he had a really nice touchdown pass to Travis Benjamin where he looked off a safety and he was able to make that throw. And that's the kind of stuff that you want to see, right? He still, Richie James still had a drop that he should have made. Lance still left some stuff on the field. Lance still taking a couple sacks that is kind of rough. It was nice to see Lance rush for a first down. That was kind of cool. It shows his athleticism. He was able to get outside, really able to beat to the linebacker to the boundary. That's really cool. It's one of those things where did either quarterback knock my socks off? No. But here's the thing. If they're going to play similarly, if they're both going to make mistakes, which both of them had a high interception tonight, why would you not just put Trey Lance out there? You're prolonging the inevitable at this point. Lance was 8 of 14. He had 102 yards and a touchdown and a pick. 2 touchdowns and a pick, sorry. I thought Lance looked fine, And that's the thing. That's all you want him to do. Look fine. Be good enough to get out there and win some games. I agree with Josh up here. It's clear that Kyle is holding Lance back. That's for sure. For me, it's just, what are we doing with Trey Lance? What is the point of taking this entire season to really, use him as a gadget guy and wait for him? At this point, put him out there. Get him out there. Get him playing the position. If both guys are going to have similar mistakes, then go with the higher upside guy. We know what Jimmy Garoppolo is at this point in his career. He's a 30-year-old guy who is going to make some dunderheaded plays, who's going to make some boneheaded throws. He's good for 1 or 2 Jimmy throws a game. We all know that. But he doesn't have the athletic upside and the deep ball upside and the RPO upside and whatever else upside that Trey Lance has. If the floors are similar, play Trey Lance. Play the guy that has a higher upside. And that kind of solidified for me tonight. I thought that Trey Lance played good enough that this needs to become an actual, legit, real quarterback competition tonight. I didn't see anything out of Jimmy that's just like, oh, yeah, he should start. It was similar to Saturday morning when I watched the Chicago Bears and the Buffalo Bills, where Andy Dalton, it's just like, okay, that's Andy Dalton. We know exactly what Andy Dalton is. And then you see Justin Fields come in. And was Justin Fields perfect? No, he was not. But you see a lot of exciting things out of Justin Fields that you know absolutely for certain that you're not going to get out of Andy Dalton. And that's what we're looking at with Trey Lance. Is Trey Lance perfect? No. Does he have a lot of room to grow? Absolutely. Every rookie does. But does he give you more upside than Jimmy Garoppolo does? I think so. And so if you're looking at a similar floor, play the guy with the higher ceiling. I don't understand what's going on. And to be honest, Lance is playing with worse players. Again, he got a little bit of run with the ones, but, the offensive line far and away was the number 2s. And he led 2 touchdown drives with a trash offensive line. And he's done it multiple times. And so you're getting him out there. You're having him do exactly what he needs to do. And so at this point, it's just like, get him out there with the ones. I want to see him head-to-head, Jimmy Garoppolo. Listen, don't play Jimmy Garoppolo for a half in week number 3 against the Raiders. I think they should alternate series with the first team. Both of them go against first-team defenses. Whoever does better needs to start. And I have a sneaking suspicion it's going to be Lance. Go ahead, guys. Tell me what you guys think about that. I think that, there's a lot going on here that we don't know about. I think that definitely Kyle is holding Trey Lance back. And I think it's on purpose. So, I do think that Kyle is telling Lance, not necessarily telling him not to run, but to look past first. And he's definitely not designing runs for Trey Lance. That's for sure. I want to see who Lance truly is too. Josh, it's frustrating because, it is frustrating for sure because we know what Lance, we all hear the reports. Lance is a read option specialist. Lance is a guy that's going to be, you're going to be able to get the ball outside and do all this stuff. Again, Lance looks very enticing. On that touchdown pass to Travis Benjamin, he beautifully looked off a safety for sure. So I'm not making that announcement. Kyle Shanahan in regards to naming the starting QB for week 1 on 49ers live stream right now. That to me is actually that's a big admission. That's a big admission because what Kyle has done this entire offseason, what Kyle has done this entire training camp has been, it's Jimmy's job. It's Jimmy is our starter. Jimmy's our starter. For him to come out and say, I'm not making the announcement of who QB1 is, that to me says that he's thinking about it. And we all know he's thinking about it. We know. It'll be interesting to see where they go going forward. So Zach's doing well. Zach's just having some internet problems. Unfortunately, that's how it goes sometimes. Somebody hit a power pole or something. Somebody was doing dumb stuff, and unfortunately that affects the show. We're doing the best that we can, so. Trey versus Lion and Eagles is what I've been wanting. I don't get why Jimmy G is still being forced. Yeah, I don't either. I think that's just the nature of the beast. That's what Kyle has to say going forward. He has to talk to his team. He's got to be out in front of the media. But if there were any 2 games that you would get Trey Lance out there to maybe potentially make some mistakes and learn on the job, it would be the Lions and the Eagles. Those are 2 infinitely winnable games. That you throw Trey Lance out there. If he makes a couple of mistakes, your defense and your running game is good enough to kind of cover some of those up, and you can still win. What's to say that Jimmy doesn't go out there and lay an egg against the Lions and then the 49ers start 0-1, and then Kyle's sitting there going like, shit, I should have started Trey Lance right off the bat. There's no guarantees. And I don't think that Jimmy G is such a good upgrade over Trey Lance at this point that you can definitely do that. So I think part of it was to save him. Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think that interception was necessarily 100% on Jimmy Garoppolo, to be honest. I think that, yes, it was a high pass. It was high. Ayuk got both of his hands on it. I think that a wide receiver 1 needs to bring that down. I don't think Odell Beckham Jr. drops that pass or allows it to get past him. And I'm not saying that Brandon Ayuk necessarily needs to be Odell Beckham Jr. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if you're a true wide receiver 1 and you want to get that recognition as the wide receiver 1, you need to make those type of plays. I'm not going to 100% put that on Jimmy. That's 50-50 Jimmy to me. 50% Jimmy, 50% Brandon Ayuk. Just like the Trey Lance interception was 50% Trey Lance, 50% Deebo Samuel. Both passes were high and a little bit behind the receivers, but the receivers also got both hands on the ball, so they got to pull that down. But I do think that Kyle took him out of the game partly to save him because, again, Coach Staley of the Chargers was not putting guys out there. He wasn't putting his best players out there to start on defense. And so when you have Jimmy throw that pass, it's just like, well, okay, we can't have Jimmy out there throwing interceptions against the number 2s, right? And at the same time, it's like, why is Jimmy out here against the 2s? There's nothing to be gained from keeping Jimmy Garoppolo out there against those guys when you don't have the best of the best out there. When Justin Herbert didn't start, when a lot of the Chargers defensive players didn't start, there's no upside to Jimmy Garoppolo being out there. I think that the 2 joint practices were better for Jimmy Garoppolo than this game was going to be, and I think that was always the case. However, when Trey Lance comes in, and yes, he had the interception, but he also had 2 touchdown drives, and he looked better out of the shotgun, and he looked better in the 2-minute drill. This is what I was looking for out of him coming out of last week, where he was terrible out of the shotgun and terrible in the 2-minute. Trey Lance led a touchdown drive at the end of the half. Trey Lance came out in the third quarter, led another touchdown drive. This is something that I'm definitely looking for in terms of Trey Lance to take the job from Jimmy Garoppolo. And I think that when you look at it in a vacuum, even though it was against 2s or whatever, when you look at, again, a similar floor, if Jimmy's going to make a mistake and Lance is going to make a mistake, Lance's ceiling is up here where Jimmy's is like right here. So play the guy whose ceiling is up here. It just makes sense to me that you're going to do that. Albert Breer asked if it was Lance getting more comfortable or if it's a lesser competition making him look better. I think that it's a little bit of both. I mean, listen, all you can hope for out of Trey Lance is a little bit of improvement week on week. You don't need him to be a savior right now. Of course, he's not going to be a savior. even the best rookie quarterbacks, they struggle at times. I mean, Baker Mayfield has the best stats of a rookie quarterback that we've seen before Justin Herbert. And even that is just, that wasn't perfect. Justin Herbert wasn't perfect. There were games where Justin Herbert looked great, and then there were games where he looked very pedestrian. I think that you need to get him out there. We know what Jimmy Garoppolo is. And so are we going to waste a year of Trey Lance and his affordable rookie contract to just kind of appease a veteran and to appease the locker room? Because I think the players know. I think the players know that Trey Lance's upside is a lot higher than Jimmy Garoppolo's. So, it's going to be an interesting decision. But again, the fact that somebody posted in the chat earlier, I want to put it back up. It was Joey, that Kyle Shanahan's not making an announcement who the week 1 starting quarterback is at this time. That tells me it's very much up in the air. And that I think that Kyle is getting swayed by the potential of Trey Lance. And he rightly should be. I think that Kyle is all in on Trey Lance, and he wants Trey Lance to take that job. So when Jimmy comes out and he's 3 of 6 for 15 yards and an interception, and Trey Lance comes out and he's 8 of 14 for 102, 2 touchdowns and a pick, and neither pick was necessarily the quarterback's fault, but you're looking at it like, man, Trey Lance gives us a lot of big playability that Jimmy doesn't give us. And I think that's going to win the players over as we go along. I'm tired of seeing Richie James too. Josh up, I'm right there with you. Richie James sucks. He sucks. He had another drop today that was inexcusable. It was a Trey Lance drop, went right through his hands. And somebody was like, oh, well, Trey Lance doesn't need to throw it that hard. No, it hit Richie James in the hand and went right through his hands. Again, I'm tired of Richie James. He needs to go. Lance needs the rep. He is our future. 100% he's our future. He needs the reps. There's no question about it that Trey Lance needs the reps. That, you know what? Joey says, don't forget Trey had that 2-point that was called back. We ain't get that with Jimmy. I'll tell you what, that 2-point conversion was awesome. He worked through his reads. It wasn't there. He ran for it. That was something that was legit. I absolutely loved it. And it sucked that it got called back on a penalty, and then they weren't able to do anything with it. Robbie Gould goes out there and he's midseason Robbie Gould where he's missing extra points. Fernando says, I expected Trey Lance to struggle. He's a rookie and he's only going to get better. And that's absolutely true. Trey Lance is going to struggle. He's not going to be 100% perfect. He's not going to, but here's the thing. We know what Jimmy is. We know what his ceiling is. And so what are we working towards? Are we working towards Jimmy Garoppolo being a guy that's going to give us a wild card berth, right? Where we lose in a divisional round, we win a wild card game, we lose in a divisional round, and then we got to get Trey ready to play for 2022, 2023? Or do we sit here and we play Trey this year and maybe we lose in the wild card round? Maybe we don't make the playoffs, but Trey's ready to go for year 2, and he's ahead of where he would be if he just sat behind Jimmy this whole season. I don't think that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to lead us to a Super Bowl. So if we're not winning the Super Bowl this year and it's not going to be Jimmy Garoppolo taking us there, then what are we doing? Put Trey Lance out there. Let him get ready. That's my thought on it. Simba Webster greater than Richie James in the return game. I absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. Niner Gang Podcast. What's good, man? What's good? Thank you for showing up. Thank you for supporting the channel. Love it. Also, guys, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. When we get to 2,000 subscribers, we're giving away a 49ers jersey. Zach posted it on our Twitter page. Go and retweet his tweet. We're giving away merch just at the end of the week for S's and G's, shits and giggles. We just want to give you guys some stuff. So anytime you guys follow us, retweet us, like all our stuff, there's a chance that you guys can get some stuff. So go ahead and do that. I don't know why Kyle is not using Webster more. It's like he's trying to give Richie the benefit of the doubt, but he is who he is. Give Webster more plays. I heard something interesting, and I don't know if it's going to apply to Richie James, but it was definitely in terms of, I think I heard it on the Haberman and Middlecoff podcast, where they were talking about Josh Rosen and when they got rid of Josh Rosen. And, Middlecoff was saying, hey, they put Rosen out there in preseason game number 1 for the entire second half so that he could put stuff on tape for other teams because they knew they were going to cut him. And that might be something they're doing with Richie James. Richie James has had a couple years of service here. I feel like the coaching staff really likes him. He's a well-liked player on the team, but I think they know they're going to move on. So giving Richie James all of these chances, it's putting stuff on tape for other teams so that they can potentially get Richie another job after they cut him. I don't think that Richie's making this team, to be honest. I don't think that he's good enough. I don't think that he's shown enough. I think that it's definitely a situation where if Kyle wants to do him a favor, he's going to do him a favor by putting him out there and getting some stuff on tape. So when they do cut him, other teams are saying like, oh, that looked pretty good. He had a good return today. And I know a lot of people are like, wow, that was a good return for Richie. And I know the team is like, listen, we've been waiting for that for too long. That's too little, too late. But another team who, maybe is not keeping up with Richie James 100% is looking at it and going like, oh, well, that looked pretty good. Let's bring him in. And I think that that's what they want to do. Fernando says referees were something else. I don't get why so many penalties on us. Preseason penalties. Look, the referees are in preseason too. So I don't necessarily think that. I didn't see any egregious calls. I saw some stuff that was just like, especially on the 2-point conversion with them like holding, and I was like, okay, I guess, but just let that go. But there was enough there that they thought they should call it. I didn't see anything egregious though that was absolutely insulting or terrible. I know that the Arizona Cardinals, their Kansas City Chiefs defensive back actually got fined $5,000 for that low block play that happened last week. So it's not anything like that where I'm looking at it like, wow, some guy's going to lose some money or whatever. It's not the hit that happened on Justin Fields, who absolutely got his head taken off. It's just, I don't care about wins. I don't care about losses. I don't care necessarily about the referees in preseason unless I see something egregious. To me, it's about individual stories, individual players. How are they performing? I thought Sherfield had a pretty good game. I thought that, Ayuk had another critical drop on that Jimmy interception. And I'm looking at it like, man, Ayuk, get some hands together. I know he caught a pass from Lance later, and he stayed in a little while, which was good. Another story that I really liked was I was worried about Deebo Samuel after hearing about his injury in practice, but he suited up tonight and he went out there and played. That's awesome. I think that's good for the 49ers. They need Deebo Samuel out there. So I think it was absolutely great. There's individual storylines that I like to see. Hufanga came up and made a play in the backfield. He blew up a draw play that I thought was awesome. There are different things that you can take away. The preseason wins and losses, who cares? Throw that out. They don't count. Nobody cares. We've had, there's a stat where the Lions and the Browns both went 4-0 in the preseason before they went 0-16 in the regular season. Wins and losses don't count. What I want is for people to see this player's doing this. This player's doing this. Here's a position battle here. Here's a position battle there. And that's what I like. To me, JaMychal Hasty looked awesome today. JaMychal Hasty, to me, looked better than Wayne Gallman. And so going forward, Wayne Gallman better watch out because JaMychal Hasty is coming to take that job from him. He's coming to take running back 3 from him. And so to me, I look at today's game and I'm like, man, Hasty started over Gallman. Hasty played better than Gallman. Gallman could be gone. If Hasty comes out next week and plays better than Gallman again, I absolutely think that JaMychal Hasty could make this team over Wayne Gallman. I try to read everybody's comment, Hunk Fat. I know I'm better when I read your comments because your comments are awesome, just like everybody else. Christopher asks, how do I think the running games looked in 2 preseason games? It looks fine. It looks fine. I think Hasty's looks actually pretty good. Sermon looked good week 1. I know it was weird. It was like a last second thing that he didn't play. It was a last second thing that Who was it? One of the receivers didn't play with a heel injury. It was a couple of weird things. I'd like to see Jalen Hurd get into the game, but I mean, the running games look pretty good. Lenore annoyed me with his head not looking again. Lenore's a rookie. It's going to take him time, and he's not even like a highly drafted rookie either. He's like a mid-round pick. He had the interception week 1. He came back down to earth today, especially today. But I thought that he did pretty good overall. Hunk Fat asked, does Lance need more touch on his throws? Yes, I think he does. But it's not like, so if you go and watch Chris Sims is going to tell you he has one speed. It's just fastball, fastball, fastball. He's like Colin Kaepernick. It's just a fastball. He can't throw anything else. And then Chris Sims will tell you, well, even Colin Kaepernick had a changeup or whatever. It's not always. Trey Lance is more refined than Colin Kaepernick has ever been. Some of the throws that Lance made tonight, there was some touch on those passes. He definitely does put a lot into throws that he thinks he needs to. So he does make some ego throws where, okay, the ball has to get there. And those passes can be a little difficult. I think that's why Debo dropped that pass that turned into an interception, because I think that Lance had a lot of mustard on it. And it just, the 2 touchdown passes had a lot of mustard on them, but they were in good position. That was like right here for the wide receivers to catch. So that made it a little easier for them. But yeah, I would like to see a little bit more touch on his throws, but that's going to come with time. So I'm not worried about Trey Lance being a one-trick pony or whatever in terms of his throws. I appreciate that. Melissa, you're the best. I know I'm by myself. Zach had some internet issues. No problem. We'll get it done. Jason Ellsworth says Hasty definitely played better and ran a lot harder than Gallman. Also, Gallman had that easy drop on the screen. He did. And, to me, again, these are the position battles that are interesting. It's not necessarily the guys at the top. We know that Mostert's going to be running back 1 to start the season, right? We know that because of the 3rd round selection of Trey Sermon, he's going to be slotted right there with running back 2. We know. So running back 3 becomes this position battle. Elijah Mitchell's hurt. He has that injury. So now we're looking at Wayne Gallman and JaMychal Hasty. And me, especially after week 1, was like, okay, after preseason week 1, man, Hasty had a nice half, but it's just he's on the outside looking in. I don't know if he can beat out Gallman. And then this week, because there's no Sermon available, Mostert's not going to play. Elijah Mitchell's gone. You have the 2 running backs head-to-head. You have Wayne Gallman and JaMychal Hasty. JaMychal Hasty starts. JaMychal Hasty looks better. And so now, to me, that situation is flipped. I'm looking at it as, okay, JaMychal Hasty has the inside lane on this. He might be able to beat him out. If he comes out against the Raiders and looks really good, I mean, he's putting stuff on tape. Beyond just what's in practice. And I know Hasty is a well-liked player in the locker room. Beyond what's going on in practice, it's just like, well, Hasty's younger. Hasty hasn't had the opportunities. Hasty had some wiggle last year and looked pretty good until he broke his arm. Maybe we stick with Hasty as running back 3, especially with Jeff Wilson Jr. out until November. Okay, maybe this guy can come in and be that guy for us. We purposefully selected JaMychal Hasty as an undrafted free agent to come into our camp and work with us because we saw something there. And now through 2 weeks of the preseason, you're seeing something there that you're not seeing from Gallman. And I just think that, okay, cool. Gallman is a guy who's a vet. He's been around the league for a couple of years. But JaMychal Hasty looks better than him right now. That's just me. Joshua says, speaking of Sherfield, he's the truth. I'm really liking him, just my opinion, but he looks better than Sanu, not taking nothing from Sanu. I think they're about the same. I think Sanu, they're different types of receivers. I think Sherfield is a guy that's going to kind of pull the top off a defense a little more than Sanu is, but Sanu is going to be that chain chewer. Sanu is going to be that guy on 30-7, is going to run an 8-yard pattern and get you that first down. They're going to do different things, but guess what? There's room on this team for both of those guys. Outside of Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel, who have wide receiver 1 and 2 locked up, it's a free-for-all below them. And I think Sherfield and Sanu are both making this team. Juwan Jennings had the heel. That's who it was. That's who was injured. Juwan Jennings. I think Juwan Jennings has a shot to make this team if he comes out and shows up against the Raiders. It was a last minute thing. I was actually surprised that he wasn't going to play today. So Hung Fast says, no problem, Matt. Just wanted to reiterate you're super talented. We're extremely grateful to have you as a content creator in our community. I love your guys' streams. You know what? You guys make it for us. I don't care about my talent because as long as I'm entertaining you guys, that's all I care about. You guys make the show. So thank you guys for showing up each and every week. I appreciate you. Melissa says, Matt, did you see anything about this Hurst ankle injury? Do we know the severity? I haven't seen it yet. I'll look into it and keep you guys updated. Joshua says somebody's going to pick him up ASAP if we let Hasty go. I believe that too. I don't think this is a situation where you can cut Hasty and have him clear waivers and sign him to the practice squad. I don't think that he's going to make it. He's shown enough that you need to keep him on the roster. And as of this moment, again, I think that he has slid himself into running back 3. What did I think of the maiden interception? It was good. It was a good play. I think, again, it's late in the day, so it's hard to really put too much stock into that. But what you want to see is, again, guys making plays. So if he's going to make plays, he's going to make the team. I just need to see a little bit more. And it's still really weird for me to see. I know preseason week 1 when Watkins was out there and Maiden was out there. They were both wearing number 7. And now this week it's like, okay, well, Sudfeld's out there now and he wears number 7. It's a lot of number 7s running around. I know that's a lucky number, especially in Japanese culture, in casino culture or whatever, but it's a little weird to watch a lot of 7s running around there like that. Melissa says, cool, thanks. Saw the alert about it from NFL app, missed it because I was streaming talking to friends. You know what? Yeah. Again, it's one of those things where once you get to a certain point, it's kind of like, okay, whose scrubs are better than whose scrubs? You know, when you get to 4th string against 4th string, 3rd string against 3rd string, you want to see at least a little bit of playmaking out there. But overall, it's one of those things where maybe you don't tie too much into it. It's hard to say who's really going to, does Maiden make that play against the number 1s? Is that play even available for him against the number 1s? You don't know. All we can do is see the guys as they make the plays. And that's one of my things where I'm looking at Trey Lance, back to Trey Lance, because we all want to talk about the quarterbacks. Let's be real. We're all here for the quarterbacks. We don't give a shit about the game. Let's be honest. We don't care. We know who's who at which position. We're looking at Jimmy Garoppolo versus Trey Lance. And when you see Trey Lance and you see him make 2 touchdown drives, and you kind of see who, Jimmy Garoppolo is Jimmy Garoppolo, and you see Trey Lance out there. He's making these touchdown drives, and you're seeing like, okay, there's something here. Was it spectacular? No. It was pretty pedestrian, to be honest. It was pretty pedestrian. I didn't see anything that was like, oh my God, Trey Lance, wow. But at the same time, I saw the floor that was exactly the same as Jimmy Garoppolo, and I know that Kyle is holding him back. So I think that if the floor is similar, play Trey Lance. To me, Trey Lance took a step forward. And I just think that going forward, maybe in the 3rd preseason game, maybe Trey Lance gets a little bit more with the starters. Kirky, who do you think should make the 53? I'm leaning Arden Key right now. I think that he is a little bit better. He has a little bit more pedigree. I think that at this point, you're adding a lot of depth, which is really cool. I think having all that depth is something that's important for the 49ers defensive line. But at the same time, Arden Key has some draft capital behind him. And again, I hate to be this guy, but we all do it. The draft position matters a little bit. Where you were drafted, where you were picked up. I think that gives you a little bit more leeway. And because of how bad the Gruden-Mayock regime is, I'm very interested to see what Arden Key, who was a highly touted prospect, I'm excited to see what he can do underneath Coach K, because I think Coach K is going to bring out the best in him. And so for that reason, I think that he just has a little bit more upside than Kerr does. Hung Fast says it's time to look for another kicker. I don't know that there's anything better. Unfortunately, I think we're stuck with Robbie Gould for the season. I think that he makes a lot of money. I don't know necessarily. It's really weird. I think that Robbie Gould is kind of aloof and kind of doesn't give a shit in a lot of situations until it's clutch time. And then I think that he does really well. So in general, I think that Robbie's just like, whatever. I don't care. I'm going to go out here. I'm going to push this. Whatever. Oh, I pushed it. Okay, I missed the extra point. Oh, I missed another extra point. But it's preseason. Who cares, man? I'm out here having a good time. Who cares? Who cares? But when it's nut cutting time and he needs to make a kick, that's when he gets serious. And Robbie Gould makes a lot of clutch kicks. So I'm not going to shit talk Robbie Gould and say that we need to move past him at this point in time, because in the regular season he gets it done. In the playoffs he gets it done. I just don't think he cares about the preseason. He knows what he has to do. So he very well could be working on a ring toe kick that curves from left to right, bend it like Beckham, blah, blah, Amanda Bynes, shitty movie, kick, blah, 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 whatever. I just don't think he cares. And I don't think that we should care at this point in time. Now, if he starts missing kicks in the regular season, then it's time to start talking about, okay, maybe Robbie Gould, it's time for him to get the hell out of here. But until that point comes, it's preseason. Who cares? Sorry, Matt, love this D. I watched for that way more than Jimmy G. Yeah, no. I watched for the D too, for sure. I think it's just time, it's hard to really gauge the offense when the Chargers roll out Easton Stick as their starters, which to me honestly sounds like a new baseball bat that somebody would buy for their kid for Little League. This is the Easton Stick 2021 FP 9000. Oh, okay, that makes sense. But then you got Easton Stick, the football player, rolling out there. Okay, who cares? Cool, man. Eric Armstead had a sack today. Easton Stick rolled out. Eric Armstead whiffed, right? Whiffed on Easton Stick. Stick rolled up, couldn't find anything. Eric Armstead came on the backside. Cool. In the box score, that's going to go down as a sack. Was it good? Not necessarily. It was Easton Stick, the baseball bat guy. I'm telling you, I can't get over Easton Stick. That sounds like he sounds like a baseball bat. Sounds like a baseball bat. Sorry, he just does. So when you're getting back end sacks on a baseball bat that you missed the first time, I'm not super impressed by that. So it's hard to judge the defense based on that because you're not playing starters. Again, this has to be about individual stories. It can't be about the team because there's so many different moving parts to this. Are they playing their starters? Are we playing our starters? Did they play their starters more than one series? Are we pulling our starters mid-series? Are we waiting until after this? Are we putting together a game plan? Are they? What are we doing? Are we doing a vanilla game plan where we just kind of go do your job? Or, are we trying to game plan for Lance to do something good? Are we trying to game plan to make Jimmy look good? Which, by the way, they're definitely not. Because Jimmy has... Listen, Jimmy's 6 for what? 6 for 12? Sorry, 6 for 9 for what? 38 yards and an interception. It's not like he's looking great. He's doing nothing but throwing checkoff passes. That's it. So, Hung Fat asks, why cut Rosen to keep Sudfeld? I think Sudfeld showed more in practice. And I think that Kyle is like, look, if we're getting to our third quarterback this year, we're fucked. If we're getting past Garoppolo and Lance, we're fucked. Either way. So I just don't think they're definitely, And, Joshua says, I think they're cutting Sudfeld too. That's a possibility to me. 100%, to be honest. They're only dressing 2 quarterbacks on game day. I'll tell you that right now. 2 quarterbacks are dressing. Because if you get past those first 2 guys, you're screwed anyway. Who cares? You're probably losing that game if you don't have a huge lead. So, Rosen, again, Middlecoff said that on his podcast with Haberman, and I 100% agree. They rolled Josh Rosen out there for the second half of that first preseason game to put stuff on tape so that he could potentially get another job, if not on an actual roster, going back on a practice squad or whatever. Because Josh Rosen at this point is at the end of the line for him. So I don't think that it would have done Rosen any favors had they played both Rosen and Sudfeld in preseason number one. I think that Kyle was like, listen, I'm going to let this – we know we're going to cut this guy. Let him get stuff out on tape so that he has the potential to go somewhere else. But to me, I think that if you can't improve in a Kyle Shanahan offense, you're probably not going to improve anywhere. So I think this is kind of the end of the line for Josh Rosen, who didn't really – he proved it true. People were saying, oh, he comes from a rich background. He comes from this and this and that. Maybe football's not that important to him. You can't go from the level of talent that he had at UCLA to what he's done with the San Francisco 49ers and blame it on a talent problem. Definitely Josh Rosen's issues were between the ears. I think that the situation in Arizona and then the subsequent situation in Miami kind of beat him down, and he wasn't there to, kind of pick himself up. And I just think that at this point, maybe football's not for him. And that's okay. That happens to guys. I wish him all the best. I just don't think that it was for him. Jordan Matthews, 2 weeks worth of penalties are ticking me off. Yeah, but this is where we want the penalties. Jordan Matthews is transitioning, so a lot of people remember Jordan Matthews has been here like 17,000 times. I told Zach one time that if Jordan Matthews kept getting cut and signing, he should pick a number each time and then get a new jersey to take home with him. And he'd have like 14. He'd be a trivia question, right? Who's the 49ers player who wore the most numbers with the team? And Jordan Matthews could be like, oh, it was me because I got cut like 14 times and I picked 14 different numbers. At this point, he is trying a new position. He's transitioning to tight end. I think that that's a tough transition and that it's going to take him time. I mean, you go from a wide receiver who, let's be honest, wide receivers blocking, that's not really, I mean, you're blocking, but are you really blocking? And now you're an inline tight end who has to run block for like a stretch play, right? Where you have to seal the edge against, the defensive end or whatever. You have to cut him off so you create a running lane. That to me, it's going to lead to penalties. He's going to make some mistakes. But if you think there's potential there, which there is with Jordan Matthews, when you convert wide receiver to tight end, that athleticism just in and of itself is going to be a little bit enticing. I think that you have to have patience with that. And he might not make this roster. I think Dwelly and Warner are almost locks to make this roster as backup tight ends to George Kittle. But if you can keep Jordan Matthews around and teach him a new position, that might be of the benefit long term. So it is frustrating, but I want to see a little bit more out of him. Hope to hell that Fufanga gets a chance to compete for safety. I think he will. I just don't know that it'll be right off the bat. I think that Hufanga is going to be a legit rotation player. I think that he's going to spell Tavon Wilson and HaHa. But I just think that the lack of experience and his lack of elite NFL athleticism, because I don't think Hufanga is an elite NFL athlete. I just don't. He needs to learn the nuances of the game, and I think that's where he's going to be served well. So, I at the end of the day, I think he's going to be a great rotational player, and I hope that he legit competes for that safety spot too, and I think he has a chance to be really, really good. I just think that he needs a little bit more seasoning before he really, really can kind of take over that starting job. I think the 49ers are just trying to figure out a solution. I think they really want Jaquiski Tartt back. And so they're going to be looking to him after, his time on the PUP list or whatever to kind of come back and give them the boost that they think they need at that position. Because, Tavon Wilson, again, they picked up a lot of guys, Hufanga notwithstanding who they drafted, and I think that they see big potential in, but HaHa and Tavon Wilson and Jefferson before they put him on IR, they were kind of like doing this throw things against the wall until it sticks at safety. And, I think that Tavon Wilson's going to be a guy that you can get a little bit out of to begin the season. I don't know that he's a long-term answer, but he could kind of carry the torch for the 49ers in that position, filling in for Tart until Hufanga's ready. And if Hufanga's not ready, then they're hoping that Tart will come back. All right. Kayaba says, I don't know about that. He seems to have a keen sense of where the ball is going. I think Hufanga does have a keen sense of where the ball is going. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is Hufanga is like a 4-5 guy in an era where safeties are all 4-3. And it showed against the first preseason game where he got baptized by Tyreek Hill, and Tyreek Hill just showed him, hey, this is NFL speed. This is not Pac-12 speed. I'm showing you what real NFL speed looks like. And Hufanga does have a nose for the football, and he is absolutely a fantastically sound tackler. I love the way he tackles. He wraps up. He does everything that he needs to do. He is going to make an impact on this defense. But at the same time, is he going to be an elite level defender right off the bat? I don't think so. I think that he needs more time for seasoning, and that's all. Hung Fast says, Papa and Tim said Mo as wide receiver 3, not Jennings. Thoughts? I'd agree with that. I think that Mohamed Sanu, because of his veteran standing, the fact that he played in Atlanta, he knows the Kyle Shanahan offense. I think that he is going to be the wide receiver 3, but I think that Jennings is going to get plenty of run. I think that we put too much stock in, this guy's at this position on the depth chart. If you make the team, especially at wide receiver, Kyle is going to use you in one way or another. I mean, Dante Pettis was in Kyle's doghouse, but Dante Pettis still found a way to get in on plays when need be. River Craycraft, who is not an NFL wide receiver in any way, shape, or form, who should ever be on the field, played significant snaps for us last year. If you're on this team, Kyle will find a way to try to make you useful. Jason Ellsworth said, haha, made that rookie mistake on the TD when he left his man to try and get the QB when there was already like 9 49ers in front. That is something that actually it worked out to the Chargers' favor. But when Grant Cohn says it, and I kind of like feel we're on the same page with that, it's another feather in the hat to start Trey Lance for me. Because this is what Grant Cohn's talking about. Hey, when you get schoolyard football and the plays are breaking down and the defense doesn't know what to do or who to cover, then that's actually Trey Lance's advantage. Just like it was Easton Stick's advantage when he was doing that. I saw 4 49ers dive towards the quarterback and leave their men. So it wasn't just haha. It was a bunch of 49ers. They thought he was taking off. And if Trey Lance can do that, I think that's something that the 49ers need to take advantage of. Imagine on a second and goal or whatever where Trey Lance does that sort of thing. Because let's face it, this team from all the way back to the Harbaugh years and beyond, this team has not been great in the red zone. The best this team has been in the red zone is when you had the dual threat of Kaepernick, especially those first 2 years when teams didn't know what was going on. So I think that if you can use that to your advantage, you use that to your advantage. And I think that Easton Stick in a roundabout way shows 49ers fans, shows us, shows the team, this is what Trey Lance can do that Jimmy Garoppolo can't. And this is going to give you an advantage. When Trey Lance rolls out, and like you saw on the 2-point conversion, Trey Lance has immense athleticism and he can get outside. When you see that, then defenders are going to break their assignments to try to go get the athletic guy because they think he's going to score, and you just drop it over the top of him. I saw that with Justin Fields in the first game against Miami in preseason week 1, where Justin Fields had gashed them enough on those rushes where the defenders dropped down and just left their man, and Justin Fields just like popped it right over the top of them. And this is something that you can get out of a guy who has these immense physical gifts that you can't get out of somebody who's limited like Jimmy Garoppolo. And to me, again, I say it with all due respect to Jimmy Garoppolo, who's taken us to a Super Bowl. It's just when you have a similar floor, play the guy with the higher ceiling because you have nowhere to go but up. There's no way that Trey Lance is going to be worse in any meaningful way than Jimmy Garoppolo. We've seen them both at the worst. So, do I think the O-line or D-line played better versus LA? I think the D-line played better. I think that's just a more talented unit. I think that they put pressure on the quarterbacks. I just think that the Chargers' backup quarterbacks from Easton Stick to Chase Daniels are just athletic, and it's pretty good, and that's okay too. I thought they did a good job. I thought Jordan Willis on that safety did a tremendous job getting in the backfield and getting the sack. I thought that was awesome for Jordan Willis to be able to get a sack like that and have it be for a safety. That puts his stock up there. And like, we're talking about Jordan Willis, who played meaningful snaps for us last year. I mean, and we're looking at it like, okay, let's talk about defensive tackle. We have Javon Kinlaw, and we have DJ Jones, and we have Contavious Street, and then we have Arden Key and Maurice Hurst, and then we have this guy and this guy and this guy and this guy, and then you're like, oh wow, 10 dudes deep, we're getting Jordan Willis, and Jordan Willis just sacked a dude for a safety. That's a good problem to have for the 49ers, and I think that their D-line is the most in-depth position on the team, much more so than the offensive line. I think the offensive line is still going to be a problem. Even the starting offensive line, I think that Brunskill is a huge question mark. We haven't heard too much from Laken Tomlinson, but that's going to be a question mark. How does Trent Williams come back from his swollen knee? I know that it's not anything structural, but he does have some inflammation there. How's he going to look? Is Alex Mack still going to be a baller at 36 years old? There's a lot of questions. Is Not So Slim Mike, who ate some sandwiches at the offseason like we asked, is he just going to continue to be good in the run game, or is he going to be better in the passing game? We know that he doesn't have great feet for the pass blocking. Is that going to be bad, or is the extra weight going to help him not get knocked on his ass? Aaron Banks, 48th overall, slow feet. Team doesn't seem like it's really behind him at this point. They don't know what they're getting out of him. He has a shoulder injury. How's he going to come back? Is Jalen Moore going to play? There are so many questions at offensive line that there just aren't at defensive line. You look at defensive line and you're like, oh shit, this team goes like 12 deep here. Some really good guys that are going to get picked up from on other teams are sitting on this defensive line at the moment. So you just have to kind of take a look at it and do it that way. But I definitely think the defensive line, just by default of the talent, played better. 2-minute drills aren't pretty. I thought that Trey Lance did a great job in 2-minute drill at the end of the half this week. I'll just say that. That's for sure. Thank you, Kyle Neely. It's a pain I suffer every day. I think he's talking about something we don't want to say on the show. Good job, Hung Fat. Your name says it all. Do I think Brunskill's going to suffer with all this shuffle around? Brunskill's going to play right guard. I don't think that he's necessarily going to suffer. I just don't think that he's that good. I just think that they can do a lot better than what they're doing with Jordan or with Daniel Brunskill right now. And I think the team was really hoping that Aaron Banks would be the guy. And I don't want to write off Aaron Banks yet because it's so early. But it's looking like he might not be a great draft pick for this regime. And I think that they might have a blind spot towards offensive line. One of the things I think that hurt them this year is that they went out of their way to draft people that they thought had a clean injury history. And so that stopped them from drafting guys like, the kid that went to Radens that went to Tennessee. I think that stopped them from drafting a guy that I really liked in Creed Humphreys. It stopped them from drafting Asante Samuel Jr. There were picks to be made at 48 that would have been better than Banks in all hindsight. And, at the time they made the pick, I was like, man, this guy's a mauler. He's a great run blocker. Maybe they can make something out of him. And I tried to be positive about it. But everything that I read was that he just has bad feet, not a great pass blocker. And, because Notre Dame is like offensive line university, I was like, man, Banks, I think he'd be something. But it's looking like he's not. It looks like Jalen Moore is the better player. And when you look at interior offensive linemen and centers and stuff like that, a lot of them come in the mid to late rounds. They don't come early. And so I think that 49ers overextended themselves, and it might come back to bite them. I think that if they had to do it over again, they probably would have went cornerback, to be honest. I think cornerback would have been a better way to go. And even, listen, I'm a Michigan guy. I really liked Ambry Thomas. I know that he sat out for 2020. He opted out. I liked him in 2019. He gave us some passes tonight. He's another one where I'm like, man, that might be rough. So there's something going on with the drafting here. I'd like to see them do a better job. I think that I don't know. I think that they're not doing the best. Kyle says, Moore looked like hot dog shit again. Sorry, not sorry. Here's what I'll say about Moore. Moore's a late round pick. So if he looks like dog shit, what are you really losing? You know, he's supposed to be a depth guy anyway. And even if he looks like dog shit, he still looks better than Aaron Banks does, which is very bad news for their second round pick. Do I think Jalen Moore improves? He can. If he's playing better than a second round pick right now, he definitely has room to improve. I know that McKivitz looks better than he did last year. Still not great, but better. I just think that they got to figure something out with this offensive line. They need their Coach K, but for the offensive line. And I don't think they have it. I think that they're relying. Listen, all their best offensive line pieces have come via like trade, pretty much. McGlinchey, fine, whatever. But let's be real. For the production we've gotten out of McGlinchey, he was overdrafted. He was drafted too high for what he's given us. Alex Mack, borderline Hall of Famer at center. Trent Williams, fucking beast. Trent Williams is one of the best left tackles in the NFL. So those are our best offensive linemen. Laken Tomlinson, decent at left guard. Also a first-round pick with Detroit. So, in terms of draft capital and cachet, we've got a lot of guys who've had resources spent on them. But when it comes to pure drafting for the offensive line, it looks like a hole in their vision for the team when they're drafting offensive linemen like that. Saw Moore get burnt multiple times today. I'm not surprised. I mean, he's got a long way to go. Do I think Staley will become a coach? I think so. I think he wants to. I think he would be really good at it too. I think that Joe has the temperament and the technical knowledge to be able to apply that. Sometimes, the best players, I never looked at Joe Thomas and thought Joe Thomas would be a great coach. I just don't think that he has that in him in terms of his personality. But the way that Joe was just such a natural leader with this team, such a natural in terms of like when he took McGlinchey under his wing, when he does his Joe show and he has like, Jimmy on and, the way that he helped Dylan Radins, again, the guy that I talked about out of Tennessee. He's been posting on his social media about that kid and how he's helped that kid out. I think that Joe has the potential to be an outstanding coach, especially as an offensive line coach. I can't speak for offensive coordinator or even, something like a head coach or whatever. But at his position, I absolutely think that Joe Staley has a ton to offer to all of these people, to all these young kids. And I'd love to see him get in there with all the kids that we have. Aaron Banks, Moore, again, Melissa, you're asking if I think Staley can help with those guys. Absolutely, I think he can. And that's what I want to see. Hung Fat asks, is Jalen Hurd all but gone? I think so. If he doesn't play with the Raiders, if he doesn't play against the Raiders next week, what are we doing with him? We're all living off of that one preseason game. And at the end of the day, there comes a point where you can't live off of your potential anymore. We have to see something solid out of you. And we can't just say, oh, well, that one preseason game against Dallas, man, he had these legit touchdowns, man. He looks so good. And I think we can get back to that. Guys, that was 3 years ago. 3 years ago. And now he's going to the last year of his rookie contract. And, or the third year of his rookie contract, whatever the case. See, I don't even know. He's been gone so long. Listen, he might not ever play a snap for this team because he's been so injured. He had the back injury his rookie year. Now he had the ACL last year. So this is year number 3. He's coming back. He's given himself the Jerick McKinnon treatment with the tendonitis in the knee. We don't even know if he's going to play. So at this point, people are hung up on this potential. And I'm just like, look, man, traits does not equal production. Yes, he has elite traits. Yes, he has these cool things that like we all think, man, if he could just get out there and be healthy. But the fact of the matter is he's not healthy. And if he doesn't get out there, then there's no point in keeping him around. He's just eating a roster spot. We can save almost $1 million cutting him. And that could go to somebody who, at the very least, is going to be healthy. You know, if it comes down to it, as much as I talk shit about Richie James, if it came down to Richie James or Jalen Hurd, and Jalen Hurd is dealing with a knee injury, man, I'm going to keep Richie James, because at least Richie James, for all of his drops and his bullshit and his not being able to take a kickback to save his life, he's out there. The best ability is availability. And Richie James is a healthy guy who's going to be able to contribute to the team in whatever limited way he's going to do it. But Jalen Hurts sucking up a roster spot with his knee tendonitis, who gives a shit? Cool, man, you're not dressing again. What does that do for the team? It does nothing. So if you don't come out against the Raiders and you don't show out and you don't do something this preseason, get the fuck gone, man. I don't care anymore. I don't care. I wish I had I don't have the little things for the Matt rant. I wish I did. I don't. Maybe we'll put it in post. Maybe Zach can edit that shit in later. Kyle says Demo is looking better than Ambry, and it was obvious on tape. Ambry always has to catch up. He plays off and closes fast well, but it doesn't translate to the NFL. He was an obvious bust to me. I don't think he's a bust. I think that the way that he plays is he's a press man corner, and in the Niners scheme, they do a little bit of press man, but not a lot. I don't think they do enough. And the other thing is, the one thing that I was really worried about when he came into the NFL is he is super grabby. He is super grabby, and that went back to Michigan too. And in college, you can grab the hell out of somebody until the ball's in the air. Like, it's not a penalty until the quarterback throws it. So for me, Ambry Thomas, it was like, okay, he's a man corner who's going to be grabby as shit. But if they can teach him to kind of keep his hands to himself, he play. And there are times you see some reps too, where he's like in a dude's pocket, right? Especially when he presses off the line, he is in a dude's fucking pocket. But there are other times where if he's playing off, it's like, oh God, he's got to catch up. He looks terrible. And so I think that for the cover 3 aspects of this defense, the off-ball corner play, I think Lenore is a little bit better than Ambry Thomas at this, for sure. Melissa says, I was sketchy as hell when he all of a sudden was at practice after Shanny presser and then disappeared again. Yeah, it was. I'm sick and tired of hearing about Jalen Hurd. I really am. I was excited for him to come back. I thought, hey, man, he had a back injury, he had a knee injury. They're not related body parts. It's fine. He can come back. Then he has that cargo plane McKinnon knee tendonitis thing. And I'm like, are they going to put him on IR again? Because he's not even playing. He's had like 3 full practices, and the rest of the time he's been on the sideline rehabbing. It's like he's got tendonitis. So it's like, oh, God. Okay, tendonitis. That's cool, man. Next thing you're going to tell me is that he has an arthritic knee. That's where it's going at this point. That he's going to have all of his athleticism sucked out of him. He's always going to be in pain. He's not going to be able to contribute. So why do we have him on the team? Hard to grade D'Amico Ryan so far. Hung fat ass. I think so. It's preseason, man. Like, you're throwing guys out there, vanilla defense, vanilla offense. You're just like, go make a play. I don't think there's too much you can carry out of this. But I do think that there are individual plays and individual players that you can kind of stack up and really get an idea of what they're doing. So, Coach Timo, welcome back to the show. We've missed you. Hurd and James both on the chopping block for different reasons. Absolutely. James is on the chopping block because he can't return kicks for shit and he's dropping passes. Hurd is on the chopping block because he can't stay healthy. A strong gust of wind will make him tear his ACL. So they're definitely both on the chopping block for 100% different reasons. If you could put Jalen Hurd's athleticism and physical attributes into Richie James, who is available, that'd be a perfect wide receiver. But they can't do that. Both of them are lacking. So I think that ultimately both of them are going to be gone. Coach Timo says, I don't fault Ryans for our defensive backups. They're just learning. And yeah, I agree. Listen, this is, people are looking at the results and it's like, oh, we lost against the Chiefs, or, we win against the Chargers, or like whatever the case may be. Cool, man. But that doesn't count in the actual standings. Again, we're trying to get situational football. It's less about, it's less about the offense and the defense and a full game, and it's more about, okay, it's 3rd and 10, it's 3rd and 12, go out there and make a play on 3rd and 12 that is indicative of what we can expect out of you when we actually are game planning for these defensive people. So I just think that you have to look at the individual aspects of the defense and not necessarily the full defense overall. But I think that D'Amico Ryans has done a pretty good job, and he's put his stamp on what he wants his team to be. And that's all you can ask. I think that the line's gotten after the quarterback when they can. I think the defense is playing aggressively and playing within themselves. I don't think there's been anything that's been overly egregious. So that's all you can do. Coach Timo, missed the beginning. Where's your other half tonight? He had some internet issues. I think somebody crashed their convertible into a transformer or something. Melissa asked, do I see anybody for linebacker 3 behind Dre and Fred that I like? I don't. You know what? I forgot to pay attention to this. Does anybody know if Michael Kendricks played tonight? I don't think that he did, but that's who I'd guess is probably going to be linebacker number 3. Jonas Griffith is another guy that I watch out for. Nobody really stood out to me tonight. I don't think that anybody, outside of the quarterbacks and the 2 interceptions, I don't think anybody made a huge impact one way or another. I don't think that it was that type of game. Some games you have a guy who just blows up the spot where you're just like, holy shit, that guy looked really good. I think everybody played pretty okay. Everybody played the script tonight. I thought everybody looked fine. So to me, it was definitely something where, all right, it looked pretty good, but it wasn't anything that I'm going to hang my hat on a guy and be like, that guy's making the 53 because he put out such a good performance tonight. I thought everybody did what they were supposed to do. And the most important thing is that everybody came out healthy. I am absolutely ecstatic that Debo was able to make it out there, start the game, play some snaps, and come out of the game and not be hurt. So that's a very, very good thing. Jay Ellie says, Kendricks got injured on the first defensive drive. Interesting. I want to see what that injury is. Griffith's playing good and consistently. He may be earning that, or at least playing behind Al-Shaair. I think Al-Shaair is the guy that's probably linebacker 3 if Kendricks doesn't show out. I think Kendricks has a name recognition, so if he does anything, I think he's going to get the nod. But I think that it's right there with him, Al-Shaair and Kendricks, 3-4. So really we're looking for a linebacker number 5. Is what we're looking at going forward. All right, guys, let's get in our last few questions of the night, and we'll get out of here. So I don't think I've talked this long in a while. Thank you guys for helping me out tonight without Zach here. I appreciate it. I don't like to hear myself talking this much, but we do what we can at the end of the day. We'll bring you Niners news this week, of course. That might come on Tuesday. So we'll make it happen. Coach Timo with the $10 super chat. Thank you so much. Hey, Matt, tell Zach to put this towards his internet. LOL. You know what? I will. He needs to get off that Fisher Price internet, that dial-up. We'll send that to him, and hopefully he'll be able to join us next time, because that's pretty embarrassing. Zach, where you at, man? No, all things serious. I appreciate it, and thank you guys so much. It's been, I've tried to do my best, so hopefully I haven't screwed this up too bad. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the show. I really appreciate you guys coming out. We've got a lot of viewers right now. Again, hit the like button, subscribe, do all that stuff. We're going to give you some stuff. We're trying anyway. But yeah, let's get our last second questions in here for the end of the show. We're going to wrap it up soon. I've been talking a lot when I can't finish my beer on the show. Tell you that right now. I'm going to ask all you guys. I don't want to put it on the chat. We're going to put it into the chat right now. because I do want to ask this. I do want to solicit this. The fact that Kyle's not willing to name his starter, if it was up to you guys, who would start week 1 for the 49ers? Would it be Jimmy Garoppolo or would it be Trey Lance? I'm just curious. Because I know the fan base goes back and forth. There's Jimmy stands, there's Trey Lance stands. And, you know, I'm not going to say one way is bad or good or whatever. I just want to see what you guys think. Mariah says Trey area. Kyle says 2 QB system to start. Melissa says Trey Lance. I think that Kyle is probably the most close to what they're going to do. I think they're going to have packages for Trey Lance. I just wonder. Jay Ellie says Trey Lance. Kyle says 2 QB system will fuck defenses. I think so too. Timothy Stoneberger says Trey Lance. So it seems like we're mostly on the Trey Lance side. Hung Fat, thank you for the super chat. Matt for Prez of 49ers content. I will be happy to be like Secretary of the Treasury. That's perfectly fine with me. I don't need to be Secretary of Defense for 49ers content. Coach Tima says Jimmy G. Lance just doesn't know the offense yet, although they're not game planning yet. Jimmy has a better grasp of it. Trey going to get the reps and plays just for him as he learns. Hung Fast says Trey way more upside. Melissa says Justin Hill, your thoughts? I have none, to be honest. I didn't pay attention to Justin Hilliard. So, Coach Timo, I just want to say this. So, tonight we saw Jimmy make the Jimmy throw. It was picked off. Ayuk should have caught it. I'm not blaming Jimmy for that. I think that was 50% Ayuk, 50% Jimmy. I just want to ask you, if both players have a similar floor, which both players are going to make mistakes, but Lance has the higher upside from both an athleticism standpoint and a deep ball standpoint, why would you start Jimmy over Lance? Would you not want to get Lance ready, especially given that he missed last year in college? Do you think that it would be better to, you know, kind of get him ready to go? Josh says Lance. I'm seeing a lot of Trey Lance here. I think that the fan base is kind of, especially after tonight. I mean, they both had interceptions, but Lance had 2 really nice touchdown drives. I'm going to say that right off the bat. Coach says Kyle is playing this up, though, for opponents, making them prepare for both. I think that Kyle wants Trey Lance to take the job, if I'm being honest. Do we think Jimmy G ran because he wanted to prove he can do what Lance and other young QBs can? I think that Jimmy had, like, at least pre-ACL, I thought that Jimmy had some scrambling ability. We saw that in New England. I thought that after the ACL, he became a little tentative with it, and he wasn't sure of himself. That 10-yard scramble tonight was actually pretty decent. I'm not going to hate on that at all. 49ers went like 85 yards in 45 seconds. Can't do that with Jimmy. Listen, I thought that the Trey Lance 2-minute drill tonight was actually really, really good. Coach says, as a fan, I might start Trey over him just for the upside of his scrambling ability, but scrambling alone doesn't make a QB, and Lance still learning the reads and timing. I agree with that. But if you look at people like Lamar Jackson, if you look at people like RG3, they necessarily didn't know offenses and didn't know reads and stuff like that. But again, what I'm saying is, if you have a similar floor, right? If the worst the quarterback can do is make a couple boneheaded plays a game, which we know Jimmy's going to make, which we know Trey is probably going to make, but Trey has a much higher upside. What is the upside to starting Jimmy over him? That's my question. Because if we're looking at a similar floor, but Lance has the higher upside, then why do we care like what Jimmy's going to give us if Trey is going to be potentially better? That's just, I'm just asking. Damn, did I miss a segment on the QBs? I mean, we're still kind of talking about that because I think that's what everybody wants to talk about. If 3 is dress rehearsed, do we finally stop seeing James on special teams? God, I hope so. He's terrible. He's the worst. I think our coach thinks outside the box and he's not going to fit into any box. So you can think things are supposed to go like this. Shanny says, F you. I think so too, for sure. Coach Demo says, have I seen Mark Schlereth's take on our QB situation? He makes some very good and detailed points about why Trey is not ready yet. Yeah, but Mark Schlereth is also an offensive lineman, so I take what he says with a grain of salt. I saw him on Colin Cowherd. I saw what he had to say, but I don't know. Even when he was talking to Colin Cowherd, he was like, yeah, I agree with you. He's not ready yet, but it seemed like he wanted to add the but there, you know? I just don't know. Again, let's just say we start Jimmy to like week 8 or week 9 or whatever, and then Trey comes in and Trey struggles. Do we go back to Jimmy? You know, Trey has had a year off from college football. I think he needs reps. I think when you say he doesn't look ready, well, he hasn't played actual organized football in like a year. It's one thing to go out there and have receivers and, oh, we're going to run routes and we're going to look at, and I think that early on, that's why when you're looking at these drills or these like 7-on-7s in training camp, that's why Trey Lance looks so good, because that's what you can do outside of structured football. And that's why I think when he has the, you know, oh, this is the move the football period. This is the move the ball period. This is 2-minute drill. This is end of the half, when he doesn't look good. But what I said last week was, man, he looked like shit in the shotgun and he looked bad in 2-minute drill. I want to see him improve. And I think he did both things this week. I thought he improved a lot out of shotgun and a lot in 2-minute drill. I just don't think that he's going to learn a lot getting second team reps behind Jimmy Garoppolo. And if you invested 3 first-round picks in him and you have Jimmy Garoppolo ahead of him, what is he going to learn and why are you wasting time? You don't want to have him sit behind Jimmy Garoppolo for that long and then necessarily be, okay, now he's 2 years out of football and now you got to learn. And now you're wasting a year on his cheaper contract. So Mark Schlereth's a high football IQ guy. Coward can be dumbed down anyone. Yeah, no, and I know I think that Schlereth has good points. I just think that, again, if you're looking at floor, I think their floor is very similar, but I just think that Trey has a higher upside. And Jimmy might be a little bit, he might be better for 1 or 2 wins, right? Baseball terminology. Here's my baseball thing for the show. Wins above replacement. Jimmy might be a little bit higher wins above replacement, but that's for this year. And if we're not going to win the Super Bowl this year, which, let's be real, we're probably a playoff team, but I don't know that we're a Super Bowl team. You need to get Lance ready, because year 2, year 3, that's when Lance is going to really pop. And that's where we're going to be able to get to the Super Bowl. And if he needs a lot of reps, let's get him the fucking reps right now. Get him out there. We'll live with the mistakes because Jimmy makes those mistakes. We see him every week. Hell, I mean, how many times Fred Warner picked off Jimmy Garoppolo in practice already this year? So we'll live with the mistakes, but like, let's get the guy with the higher upside in there. That's just me, though. It's like asking someone if they're at your house and when they're down the street, are you here yet? I mean, no, but I will be in 1 minute. Yeah. Mariah says he ain't going to get ready sitting on the bench. I agree with that, too. Giaba says Jimmy starts 2 games and then moves on. Coach says exactly. He needs a lot of reps. Starting too early will kill his progress. He needs to learn more in the film room and go through those reps in practice until he gets down good. That's good. Then he goes, here's the problem with NFL, because the practices are so limited because of the way that everything works nowadays. With, you know, you're not allowed to hit. You're not allowed to do this stuff. The starters get all the reps. There's not a lot for the backups. So if Trey Lance is the second string, he's not going to get a ton of reps. And so now you're just wasting time with him. And yeah, it's not going to be great, but I mean, how many great quarterbacks start? You know, year 1. Kyler Murray started year 1. Lamar Jackson, he waited a little while, but he started year 1. You know, it's very few and far between that you're getting the Patrick Mahomes treatment when you don't play the full year. So I don't know. I think Lance needs to learn on the job, because from week 1 to week 2, he showed marked improvement over what he was doing with his 2-minute drill and in the shotgun. I think coach is coming around to Lance starting this year. He kind of couldn't hide it in this press conference today. That's the other thing. When Kyle came out today and said, I'm not ready to announce who's starting week 1, that to me was huge. That to me was huge. I think that, you know, people need to talk about that more. That's a huge thing. Hogfast says Lance going to get those reps and gain that knowledge by sitting on the bench with a baseball cap. That's what I'm saying. Timothy said Lance looked better. Jimmy looked the same. That too. Melissa says how many rants I'm in heaven. I'm not trying to rant. I just got to talk because I'm by myself today. So Timo said Trey will be brought along slowly this season. That's Kyle's planet. You can't look at Trey's potential and say he's ready now. Playing doesn't always accomplish that. Let Jimmy run the offense now. But I don't think that necessarily Jimmy runs the offense at a much higher level than Lance does. So again, we're talking about floors. If the floor is the same, but the upside for Lance is better, then just play Lance. You know what I mean? On a lighter note, he went up 49 spots. But do you think Fred Warner should have been way higher than 21? That's the NFL top 100. Damn, he was 21. I don't know. That's pretty good. I like that. Coach Seaman said Kyle Murray struggled. Most others have too. Mahomes sat. Allen started and then went to the bench. Most rooks don't do well right off the bat. Allen did not go to the bench. They did not bench Josh Allen. Not our QB, but to see that ugly hit on Fields makes me worried Lance played behind trash O-line. I did see that hit. That was an ugly hit. But part of that was Justin Fields did not adjust his protection the way that he should have. That was a mistake in adjusting the protection, and that guy came free. So I know that that Fields didn't see him, and that dude should not have hit him like that. That was a bad hit, and it rightfully got flagged. But at the same time, Fields has to be like, "Holy shit, dude! Come on, I gotta adjust my line better than that." But the difference between what Fields has and what Lance has is, if Lance plays, Lance is going to have multiple-time Pro Bowler, borderline Hall of Famer Alex Mack as a center, who's going to be able to. Kyle can take that off his plate. Hey, Trey, go out there. You're going to play. We're going to let Alex call the protections. And Alex is going to be able to slide protections to make sure that kind of thing doesn't happen. Joey says, I'd start Trey. It's not just his upside, but his floor. It's literally Jimmy now with running ability. With more reps, Trey will get better and more refined. I agree. Coach Timo, fans don't know Kyle's mindset very well. Upside means later down the road, not now. Upside is maybe he runs around like Griffin did and breaks his leg. No, we want that either. Let him learn. They're two different players, though. Robert Griffin's 6'2", 210. Okay. Trey Lance is 6'4", 230. I'm telling you right now. Kyle is telling you. Kyle, for the entirety of the preseason, has said, Jimmy's our starter. They asked him today, and he's like, I'm not willing to commit to a starter. Everybody knows the paradigm's shifting. The paradigm is shifting because Trey Lance is giving you enough to justify trying to play for the upside over Jimmy Garoppolo. So I'm saying Trey knows the system well enough to start. We'll see. I think that he knows. Again, you don't have to know the entire system. Kyle can give him a certain set of plays like he did for RG3, and then you spoon feed him as he goes along. You give him a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. That's all you have to do, especially if you plan on running the ball like Kyle wants to do. Man, if you're running the ball a lot, who even gives a shit? Like, he's going to be asked to throw. Listen, he threw like 20 times a game at North Dakota State. Ideally, I'm sure that's what Kyle wants for him, to throw 20 times a game. And so at that point, if you're not even – it's not like you're running out there and you're going from an offense that gets 400 passing yards a game to getting 18 to 20 passes out of Trey Lance. This is not a pass prolific offense. Kyle wants this to be a run first offense. Let Trey go out there. Kyle Neely, I thinking about the player. You don't just rest a guy because he could be better. If you fuck it up, you ruin his career. Kyle is doing like a true G. So fans think they know better than them. Coach tits. Kyle's telling you he's not going to name a day one starter. Timo, this goes for you too. Kyle says he doesn't. Skaggs is also saying it in their meetings. They're saying that to the press. I don't buy that one bit because their actions are telling me different. See their interview with Dieter. Yeah, look at our interview for Dieter. Dieter even thinks it's more serious than Kyle's laying out. Everybody does. You can get those plays coming in as reliever and not having to start. That's all I'm saying. Trey doesn't have to start to learn it. He will get plays. but he's going to get certain plays. Again, tell me the quarterback that has sat behind somebody and learned outside of Patrick Mahomes in the last 15 years that's been a top 10 pick. Tell me the guy. It's been like nobody. They all learn on the job. Because what happens if, okay, Trey Lance is not ready right now? What happens if we go the entire season, we don't see Trey Lance, and then we come back next year and Trey Lance is still not ready because he hadn't seen the game action because he didn't play in college in 2020. And now we've wasted another year of his contract. Anybody can say, oh, man, if you put him out there too early, it's going to screw him up. Listen, Trey Lance got drafted to a situation that most rookie quarterbacks would die for. This roster is stacked compared to what most people pick at number 3. Bar none. Zach Wilson is not getting this roster at number 3. Trevor Lawrence is not getting this roster. They're playing day one. Put Lance out there. That's an excuse. That's the cowardly way out. That's people. Listen, if you didn't think he was a guy and he was going to be your franchise quarterback and you're worried about putting him out there too early, you shouldn't have drafted him. You should have drafted somebody else. And with this tidbit, his QB coach Beck, you've heard of him, right? Even he said Trey is not ready now. He will get plays. I've said it 100 times. Jimmy is the now. Jimmy is not the now. Jimmy is not the now. Jimmy is just a guy. Jimmy's a placeholder. Jimmy's the placeholder. Jimmy does not offer this team anything far and away above what Trey Lance is going to offer. It doesn't matter if Trey Lance is ready or not. Who defines ready? Is he ready to be the best that he can be? No. That's going to be 2 or 3 years from now. Is he ready to be? Here's the question. Is he ready to be the 49ers starter? That's not the question you should be asking. The question is he ready to be better than Jimmy Garoppolo? And I think, yes, he is. Because I think that the bar that Jimmy sets is pretty low. And if he's better than Jimmy Garoppolo, just fucking play him. Coach Team, we'll see. I'm done arguing favoritism. Coaches define it, not us. Kyle says we wait up for 2 years for Trey. Coaches define. Listen, dude, I don't believe anything that Kyle says to anybody in public. Kyle's a liar, and he should be. Kyle's holding shit close to the vest. Absolutely, he should be. Hung Fast says, imagine your work relocating your replacement, paying them a huge bonus, pay for the rent for a year, and then you think you're the man of the hour. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Jimmy knows he's dead man walking. Jimmy knows. Anyways, guys, I think that's going to do it for us. I'm going to cut it off here. We're about an hour and a half in. I want to thank you guys for joining us. It's been a really cool show. I really appreciate everyone's participation. All your comments, all your questions. Coach Timo, I love the little debates that we have. We want to get you on the show soon, so hopefully we reach out to you and make that happen. Everybody go ahead and like the channel. Go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead and do all that stuff. I want to thank our sponsors. Well, let's see. Hold on. What's that guy? What's his little gold stamp thing? His little gold stamp thing. Go do that. Goldstamp.com or whatever the hell it is. 81 Vino from Terrell Owens. Go ahead and discount Hive, something or other. I'm trying. I don't have the stuff in front of me, but 81 Vino, gold stamp. Go ahead. And then go ahead and go to 49ershive.shop.com. Go ahead and pick up our merch. We got some good stuff there. So hopefully you guys can, I don't know, you guys can pull something out of this with our sponsors. And sorry, sponsors, if you guys drop us for this, I'm sorry. I did my best. Acre Gold. Thank you, Hung Fat. Acre Gold. Coming through in the clutch. Acre Gold. Acre Gold. Go there, pay your $5 for your little stampy of gold. It's really cute, and it'll go well on envelopes or something. 81 Vino, pretty good wine. Terrell Owens, really cool football label. Go and get 81vino.com. Enter the code HIVE for 20% off on orders of $40 above or something like that. I don't know. I'm making shit up. Just go there. It's fine. It's good. Go ahead and like the channel, subscribe. We hope to see you here soon. Zach and I are going to be back real soon with Niners news for the week. Thank you as always for joining us. I love having you here. And until next time, everyone, go Niners.